What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talk Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. MLB playoffs continuing last night. We both the NLCS and American League Championship Series on last night. We had a pair. We had a game three for the National League. Dodgers beat the Brewers 3-1. They've only lost one game this whole postseason. That was game three to Philadelphia. They go up 3-0 on the Milwaukee Brewers. Chance for the sweep tonight. This game got started in the first inning of a pair of extra base hits. First by Shohei Ohtani, and then Mookie Betts did this.
Ohtani is at third to start this one, and Mookie Betts puts the Dodgers on the board right away. Splits the gap. Betts on his way to second. He is in there with an RBI double.
Puts one in the gap. It will get cut off, but good hustle by Betts to get to second base. He is such a good player, Mookie Betts. He's going to be a Hall of Fame one day. RBI double. But then, a little bit later, second inning, Brewers would tie the game at 1 apiece.
Runner at third, one away, and Bauers up the middle of base hit. It'll be an RBI single for Jake Bauers. It comes on a two-strike pitch.
Caleb Durbin got things started with a triple of his own. And then Jake Bauers was in the lineup because they needed some pop. In limited at-bats for the series, he had, I think, 2 of their 5 hits in the first 2 games combined. They put him in the lineup, and he can't come through with an RBI there. But fast-forwarding to the 6th inning, Jacob Mizorowski, who came in behind Aaron Ashby in the first inning, which he came in during the first inning after Ashby faltered. No opener bullpen game. Tommy Edman comes through for the Dodgers.
Times he has gone back to the dugout and then got back out. That's a liner into center field. That's down for a base hit. Here comes Smith. Felix got a great arm. It's cut off. Throw to third, not in time.
RBI single for Tommy Edman, big hit. Soft Felix throw comes up well short. Freeman's in there at third base. That would be it for Jacob Mizorowski, but then Abner Uribe, their closer, would come in the 6th inning for the second game in a row, and it would make a crucial mistake.
Oh, and now Uribe throws it away. In to score is Freeman.
This is just a boneheaded error. It's first and third, 1 out. I know Edman is a threat to run, steal a base, but you got to run around third. Why throwing over the first base, and just a horrible throw it up the line like that. It's a terrible mistake by Abner Uribe. That will really be the nail in the coffin for the Brewers. 9th inning, Roki Sasaki shuts the door once again.
Got him!
Nasty splitter strikes out Caleb Durbin. The Milwaukee Brewers have mustered just 2 runs in the first, 2 runs in the first 3 games of this, no, 3, excuse me. 3 runs in the first 3 games of this series. Brewers now down 3-0 to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Dodgers have a chance to sweep the Brewers tonight. And in the American League, Toronto gets even with Seattle. They win Game 4 8-2. They've outscored Seattle 21-6 in these 2 games on the road. They played well in Seattle all year for whatever reason. This game got started in the 2nd inning with Josh Naylor with a big fly.
Josh Naylor hits one high in the air, deep center. Varsho jumps, and he cannot get it. It's gone.
Come on from Naylor. Apologies if the clip froze at the end there. That was just the way the highlight was. Very, very odd. But Naylor with the home run makes it 1-0 Seattle in the 2nd inning. But 3rd inning, Toronto would get things going. Starting with, once again, Andres Giménez.
A well-hit ball to right field, going to backhand zone. It's gone! He did it again!
Castillo's off-speed pitch has too much plate, and Andres Giménez, not known for his bat, gets 9th in the order. He's in there for his glove at shortstop. And 2nd straight game with a big 2-run homer for Giménez. This one gives Toronto the lead. It will end up being 5-1 at one point. In the 6th inning, Seattle looked like they had a potential 2-out rally starter, but it will be killed very quickly.
And there's a base hit into right for Suarez. Polanco is on his way home. The throw to third is in time.
So big hit from Eugenio Suarez. Does score a run, made it 5-2, but that is a horrible base running error by Josh Naylor. You just can't do that. I know it was a slowly hit ball, kind of squiggled his way through the infield. There was a hole on that right side. But, Naylor runs relatively well for a big guy. He can steal a base here or there. But it's in shallow right field. You can't be doing that. He's out by a mile at third base. You can't be doing that. You have 2 on 2 out, the tying run coming to the plate. I don't remember who that batter would have been. Might have been Dominic Canzone or something. But still, now a tying run comes to the plate. You never know. And the trouble can be a little shaky. Flaherty's been kind of up and down in this playoffs. He came in, didn't look great in that inning. He walked the first guy he saw. Then gives up the hit to Suarez. Never know. That really was just killed any momentum Seattle could have possibly had. Tour ends up adding some insurance. If they win 8-2, kudos to them for coming back in the series. The series is now tied 2 games apiece heading into Game 5. Thursday Night Football, the Bengals defeat the Steelers in a bit of an upset. 33-31 epic classic. One of the better Thursday Night Football games that we've had since Thursday Night Football moved to Amazon Prime a few years ago. People are calling it the Unk Bowl between Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco. Aaron Rodgers was 41 years old. Joe Flacco was 40. Both guys showed out. Flacco, of course, second start with the Bengals since getting traded. 31 of 47 for 342 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Absolute incredible game from him. Jamar Chase, 16 catches for 161 yards and a touchdown. I'm on a Discord server. Like earlier in the game, someone was saying that Chase might actually have 25 catches, and he actually got not even that far off. 16 catches from Jamar Chase. 4 touchdowns, 2 picks for Aaron Rodgers, 127 yards on the ground from Jalen Warren in a loss. Late game heroics. In this one, Aaron Rodgers hooks up with Pat Frymouth to give the Steelers a late lead in the 4th quarter.
Rodgers avoids the sack. Deep downfield, caught at the 35-yard line, and going all the way to the end zone is Freiermuth. Pat Freiermuth, 68 yards.
What a throw from Aaron Rodgers. Wish he could do up the Jets. Shows how cursed that franchise is. But great throw. Great catch run from Freiermuth. Steelers take a 1-point lead, just over 2.5 left in the game. But Joe Flacco comes through in the clutch.
Flacco down the sideline, caught, and sliding to a stop at the 6 is Higgins. Brilliant, just brilliant.
Beautiful throw by Joe Flacco. Drops it right in the breadbasket to T. Higgins. Great play by Higgins to slide down, knowing the situation. Now let's set up Evan McPherson for the win.
Snap good, hold good, kick good.
36-yard field goal, no problem. Gives the Bengals a 33-31 lead. Rodgers had a Hail Mary attempt, was batted down. I'm sure you were a Bengals fan. You get worried with that guy throwing a Hail Mary. You never know. But Bengals pull out a huge win. Gets them to 3-4. Steelers are up to 4-2 on the season. The last segment for today, I'm going to do a little exercise here. NBA season is right around the corner. It starts this coming week. So I am going to do over-under with the NBA teams. I'm just going to do the Eastern Conference today. Most likely we'll do the Western Conference on Monday. But I'm going to do the Eastern Conference today. The NBA player prop odds. Well, not player props, so I don't know what you call it. I'm not good with betting. But the over-unders, of course, via FanDuel RN. So I'm going to tell you whether they're going to go over or if they're going to go under. So we're going to start in the Eastern Conference. I'm not going to go by necessarily predictive standings order. I'm going to go in alphabetical order, but just the Eastern Conference teams in alphabetical order. So obviously the first team up is the Atlanta Hawks. They're at 46.5 wins. I'm actually going to take slightly under. A lot of people are picking over, and I get why. They did some nice things in the offseason. You make the move for Kristaps Porzingis, which is definitely a big piece to bring in. And the East is not going to be very good. We all know that. Indiana should take a step back with Halliburton being injured and Miles Turner no longer being there, I assume. Milwaukee already wasn't that much of a threat. It's probably taking a step back with Damian Lillard no longer in town. Boston's going to take a step back with Jason Tatum probably not playing this season. Drew Holiday was traded away. Kristaps Porzingis, we just mentioned, was traded away. So it opens up, for a lot of these other teams to potentially, win more games than they probably would. The Hawks, I don't think they're a great team, but they're probably at least the 4th or 5th best team in that conference. And there's an alleyway for them to win possibly 50 games. But I'm going to say under. Trae was a really good player. He's got some legit help this year. You bring in Porzingis. We all know what he can do when he's healthy. But health was a major concern Jamin Johnson, he should play more games than he did last year. Only played, what, 33 games last year? He's a really good player. Unless he has a huge breakout and he stays completely healthy, I'm not what's going to happen, at least not this season. And again, they have some young pieces I like. I like Zachary Reese-Shea, first pick overall last year. I think he could be a good player. They have Dyson Daniels was really good last year, career year for him, especially on the defensive side of the basketball, if he continues to get better. But just a lot of injury concerns with this group. I'm not sure if this is truly a contender yet. I mean, they could honestly they could win 50 games, be the third team in the East, and still, be losing the first round. You never know with that wonky Eastern Conference. But I don't see it. A lot of injury concerns with this team. I don't even know if you're going to get 60 games out of Porzingis. Same thing with Jalen Johnson. Also, losing Clint Capella, I think it's going to be a decent loss. He's not quite the same player, but still a great rebounder. I think they'll miss his presence around the basketball, or around the basketball hoop. So I'm going to say a little bit under, but they'll be probably the 4 or 5 in the East. The East isn't very good. The Boston Celtics are at 41.5. I'm going to say a little under. I think it's just a traditional year for the Boston Celtics. They don't have the same depth that they did. I know just Tatum has made really good progress. He might play at some point during the season. But not having Drew Holiday is going to hurt. I know, there are some pieces, some new guys in there. You get Anthony Simons for Drew Holiday. He doesn't defend nearly what Holiday does, but great scorer, could shoot. The piece you got for Porzingis in the end, you flip him for RJ Lewis, who he can play defense coming out of St. John's. You bring Chris Boucher, who's not a bad stretch five to have on your team. Jaylen Brown is a great player. Derek White's probably the best role player in all basketball. But if they still have the same depth that they once did, I think they're going to get a little bit overpowered down low, especially with Porzingis no longer there, and they're not the same defensive team they were. Honestly, I think they're better off winning 38 games and maybe not even making the play-in. They're winning 44 games, being like a 6 seed, and now you rush Jason Tatum back. I think it's better off because it's a torn Achilles for him to rest the season, come back next year, maybe make some tweaks to the roster, get have a little bit of a deeper bench, and you give yourself a chance to potentially maybe win another championship next year. I just don't think this is their year. I think this will be a very rare transitional year for the Boston Celtics, and I think they go a little bit under. Brooklyn Nets, they're at 20.5. I'm gonna take the under. This team just sucks. Cam Thomas should be healthy this year. That guy can score with the best of them. He can shoot the lights out. They have a solid stretch five and Nick Claxton. But I don't like them trading Cam Johnson for Michael Porter Jr. I think Cam was basically a younger version of Michael Porter Jr. and he's even more effective. I think he's an even better. I think he's a more effective three-point shooter. I'd already even better defender. He also has a cleaner bill of health. He's younger. He's cheaper. I didn't understand that trade at all. There are a bunch of young guys there, but there's just a whole lot of nothing. I think they go under the 20.5. This is a pretty solid bet to potentially be the worst team in all of basketball. Maybe outside of another team that I'll have, we'll see later in this exercise. But sharp points, they are at 26.5. I might take the over. Injuries are definitely a concern. LaMelo Ball, he's coming in healthy, but he always misses games. Brandon Miller is coming in healthy. Another really good young player they have, but he's been very injury prone through his first couple of years in the league. However, you have Miles Bridges, who's a good player. You make a couple of moves. I think getting rid of Mark Williams in the long run will be the right decision for them. Who's the kid they took fourth overall? That kid can shoot the lights out. You bring in Colin Sexton. I like that move. He's a nice bench guard to have. Having Trey Mann on the bench. So I do think this is a better basketball team. I like Charles Lee, the coach there. I'm not sure by how much. I'm not even sure if this is a playing team, but 26.5 seems relatively low. I think they go over. And if they're healthy, they are definitely a playing team in the East, I think. I think they're definitely a playing team in the East if they're healthy. If not, they're probably, hovering around the 30, 31, 32 win mark, but I think they get more than the 26.5 wins that they're projecting right now. The Chicago Bulls were at 32.5. I'm going to say over. They played better after trading away Zach LaVine. last year. They still weren't good by any means. You lost in the play-in, in the first play-in round. But they have Kobe White, who had a really good year last year, first career season having 20 points a game. Josh Giddey came out of nowhere and played some really good basketball down the stretch, kind of rejuvenated his career. It looked like, after the off the court debacle he had, that first year in Chicago was kind of ugly. You have a really good six-man on Ayu Dosunmu. You have some young pieces there that I think are very good. So if you can put them all together, I think you may have something kind of building with the Bulls. They've also traded away so many good players for no draft picks. I don't know what they're doing over there. They traded who? They traded Alonzo for Isaac Okoro, I think. I didn't understand that trade in the slightest. But uh, they should be better than that. Not by much, but I think they'll be closer to 34, 35, 36 wins. Maybe sneaking to the play-in. This is not a good team by any means. They are mediocre as mediocre can be. But 32 and a half, I think they clear that. The Cavs are at 56 and a half. I'm going to take the over. They had 64 games that they won last year. I thought they should have more in the offseason. I still don't think it's a championship contender. They need a legit second option next to Donovan Mitchell. I don't think they have that right now. But this is a team that was electric offensively last year. Trading Okoro for Lonzo Ball should improve your defense a smidge. I know Darius Garland, was hurt. He had surgery in the offseason, but he's doing the full court stuff. He should be ready pretty much at the start of the season. Having Lonzo Ball, I know that guy his knees don't really work anymore, but having him, not play as many minutes should help him play more games this season. Having him behind Darius Garland should keep Darius Garland healthy, hopefully. Evan Mobley is an ace defensive player. You have some other wings there that are good. This team, I'm not sure once the playoffs are if they'll be able to go on a run, but in the regular season, they should be able to win a lot of games. They'll clear 56 and a half wins. Then we got the Detroit Pistons are at 45 and a half. I'm going to take the over barely. I've heard people take the under. I'm going to take the over. Cade Cunningham is a stud. The guy is an incredible player. He averaged 26 and 9 last year, shot almost 47% from the field. He should only get better. This is a solid team. I wish they went out and really got a number two next to him. They didn't do that, so I don't think they're a legit contender in the East right now. And losing Malik Beasley, I think will hurt. That guy's a legit shooter. Obviously, he got in trouble, with some of the gambling stuff. So I don't think he's coming back. But they do bring in Karis LeVert, whose career hasn't really taken up the way we thought it would after the Nets traded him to Indiana. He's ended up in Cleveland. But he's not a bad 3-and-D piece to have. Duncan Robinson is a solid three-point shooter to have on your bench. They get him from Miami. That's a couple of good pickups. And look, Jaden Ivey being healthy is going to go a long way. Jalen Duren is a really good big man. Isaiah Stewart is a nice player to have. So, Alsar Thompson, a really young player. The guy can defend his ass off. His three-point shot comes a little bit more this year. I think this is a good basketball team. They're really good defensively. They're gritty. They're young. So, they have depth. They're fast. They have a lot of good things going for them. So I don't think they take that huge jump. They had, 43 or 44 wins last year. You lose in the first round to the Knicks. Maybe maybe you win around this year. I don't think much further than that, but this is a good basketball team. I think they get slightly more than the 45 and a half. I think they'll be between 46, 48 wins, 47 wins. I think they'll be right around there. I'll say slightly over with the 45 and a half. Up next is the Indiana Pacers. They're at 37 and a half. I think they're going to go over. I mentioned earlier, they're taking a step back for sure. Last year, you were the 4 or the 5 in the East. You ended up in the finals on a great run. Halliburton was out of his mind, but Halliburton's not going to play this year. Miles Turner is now with Milwaukee. That being said, this is still a good team. You have a guy like T.J. McConnell to start your point guard. He's a really good player, underrated player. You have a lot of other good pieces. The team is as deep as it gets with Ben Shepherd. Benedict Mathurin should get a lot better. Pascal Siakam is a great player. So this team is not going to be in the finals again by any means, but 37.5, that seems extremely low. This is a team that was in the conference finals 2 years in a row. In the finals last year, was in Game 7 of the finals last year. I think they have enough depth to where, that's what, like almost a 13-win decrease. That seems really stark. Especially since the rest of the conference is worse. We've mentioned this 1,000 times today after the whole off season. So I'm not sure, I'll have to win 50 games and be in the finals again, but 37.5, that seems awfully low. I think they clear that. Up next is going to be the Miami Heat. They're 37.5. I'm gonna take the over. Again, it's probably it's gonna be relatively close, but I think they clear that. Uh, they're healthy going into the year. The Jimmy Butler stuff is not that's in the rearview mirror. They are gonna miss Talkin to start the season. He's hurt. He's got a foot injury. He's gonna miss some time to start the season, possibly. You'll have him at some point. He's a great shot creator. Bam Adebayo is a defensive player of the year candidate every single year. Really good big man. Norman Powell you pick up. He can shoot the lights out. Andrew Wiggins is a good player, especially on the defensive side. You have him. Next young pieces I think are very good. I like Femi Hawkins. I like Khalil Ware. Uh, again, they're probably going to be about a 500 team. They're going to be mediocre like they have been in the last few years. But I think they clear the 37.5 wins. Milwaukee Bucks were at 43.5. I'm going to take the under. This one is going to be really close. I think their ceiling is about like 46, maybe 47 like they won last year. I think their floor is about like maybe they're about 500. So they're either going to be just over this or just under this. To be honest, 43.5 is a really accurate line for them. I'm going to take it just under. We all know what Giannis is. The dude's one of the greatest talents we've seen in a while. He's top 5 player in all basketball. But he's not happy right now. There's been trigger rumors and speculation, stuff he said all off season. You have Miles Turner up, not having Damian Lillard's going to hurt. Kyle Kuzma, I just don't think is that good. And then they just extend AJ Green. When you think of AJ Green, you think of the former Bengals receiver, not even in the same sport. There just is no depth here. Giannis is the only guy playing legit defense. They're coached by Doc Rivers, so no how that guy still has a job. And there just isn't anything here. Last year, you won 47 games. You got just the doors beat off of you in the first round by Indiana. And just Giannis is unhappy. If this is a team if they start out they got to a slow start, which I think is possible, like a 6-10 kind of thing. I think the Giannis trigger modes are going to really ramp up. I think it's going to be tough for them to deal with. So I think they go under the 43.5. The Knicks are at 53.5. I'm going to say they're a little bit over. I might be a little biased here. A lot of people are saying they're going to be over. And I get why people are saying they're going to be under. Just, it's, with concerns with is Karl Anthony Towns. Can he be that legit number 2 next to Jalen Brunson? If they're running double bigs with Mitchell Robinson. Can Mitchell Robinson stay healthy? Like, I never seems to be able to stay healthy. The coaching change. However, I think Mike Brown will help them. Opposed to Tom Thibodeau. I think he'll give them the rest that this group needs. Their depth is much better this season. I know Malcolm Brogdon just retired, but I didn't think he was going to play much of a role anyway. Jordan Clarkson is a great pickup. That's a nice piece to have. You think you're definitely much deeper on your bench. This is a really good team that was just in the Eastern Conference Finals. For the first time in 25 years, this is the year for them to go to the finals. I'm going to say they go, not by much, but I'll say they go just over. I think they'll win 55, 56 games. On paper, I think they have maybe the first or second best roster in the Eastern Conference. I don't think they get the 1 seed. I think the Caps will win more games in the regular season. However, Knicks will probably the 2 to 3, probably have 55 wins. And depending on how good the Magic do, I'm doing them next. And they'll probably be the favorites, hopefully, to come out of the Eastern Conference. Come play with them. I think they will. For now, I'll say they just clear that. Orlando Magic, they're at 51.5. I'm going. That's, again, a really accurate one. I'm going to take the under. I think it's just a little bit high. This team won 41 games a year ago. And I think overall, They get a little bit better by trading Cole Anthony and Contagious Caldwell Pope for Desmond Bain. Bain's a very good player, great shooter, something they need. They were not very good offensively last year. They have enough defensive intensity. They were second in that last year. That being said, they gave up too many picks for him. And I don't think that makes them, even with the conference getting weaker, 10 wins better. That just doesn't seem feasible. I do think this is a very good team. They are very clearly a top four team in the conference, if you ask me. I think an outside chance of getting to the conference finals. I do think this is a good basketball team. If they're healthy, if Franz and Paulo Banchero could stay healthy, Jim Suggs, same thing. If Franz and Banchero could shoot the ball a little bit more consistently, this is a really dangerous team. I like Jamal Mosley as the coach. This is a good defensive team. Like I said, that doesn't Bane move. But I don't think this team is ready to make that jump to the finals just yet. But they're a good team. But I think they'll be just under. They'll be probably like 47, 48 wins this year, but I think they'll be just under. Philadelphia 76ers, they're at 42 and a half. Under, under. I don't care what anybody says. They cannot stay healthy. Joel Embiid just got cleared today. Preseason is almost over. Paul George is not going to play in the first game. Apparently, he like after that he'll be fine, but I don't trust it. Tyrese Maxey, slight down year last year. He's still a great player. Wasn't bad last year, and if he has Embiid and Paul George for at least more than he had last year, that will help him. I get it. If he's got to stay healthy, this is a contender. Jared McCain, this guy you have coming back, first rounder last year, was on pace to win Rookie of the Year before he got hurt. Kelly Oubre is a good role player, but they're just always hurt. Okay, I get it. If they stay healthy, this is a team that could have 50 plus wins. They could potentially be in the finals. But also, this is a team that might not even sniff the play-in. Now, they might make the play-in if they could just get just a few more games out of Embiid and Paul George. They could make the play-in, but I don't see him being much more than that. Joel Embiid's a joke. He's never healthy. Paul George is washed. He's never healthy. And just it's Maxey and just not enough out there with all their injuries. They're going to be under. I think at best they are about a 500 team, if that, and they're in the play-in. They get lucky to get clapped in the first round. But Philly, uh, probably more than the 24 they had last year, but they're not winning 43 games. So that's not going to happen. And then the next team up, have two teams left in the Eastern Conference. Then we're going to close this thing out. The Toronto Raptors, they're at 38 and a half. I'm going to take the over. Toronto is a really interesting team. They've been building this thing for a while, kind of rebuilding this roster kind of from the ground up. You trade Siakam to Indiana for a bunch of picks. You trade OG to the Knicks for Barrett and quickly. You've made all these moves. At this point, this is the roster. If things go sorely this year, you're going to have to kind of shake things up. Now, this is not a championship team by any means, but they've had some health problems. But RJ Barrett has played very well. Quickly's looked good when he's been healthy. Scotty Barnes is another guy you got over there. A full year of Brandon Ingram. Pirtle's a solid big man. I think this is a good team that can be very competitive in the Eastern Conference. I'm not even sure if they can win a playoff series, but if this team is healthy, I think this is a good basketball team that should be over 500, if nothing else. I'm not sure. I don't think they win 50 games. I don't think they'll compete, for a top spot in the conference. But if you told me they were the 6th seed in the East, and 43 wins probably gets that done, something like that, I wouldn't be shocked. If they do go under best, they end up with 36 wins and potentially miss the play-in, something's wrong, and there's going to need to be a major shakeup. The Toronto Raptors, I think they go a little bit over that. Not by a whole lot, but I think they go over 500. And the last team is the Washington Wizards. This and the Utah Jazz, who are on Monday. Well, I'll give you my thoughts on them. Are the only two teams that could potentially challenge the Nets to be the worst team in basketball. Washington Wizards are at 20 and a half. I'm going to take the over by not a whole lot, but they'll win more than that. I'm not sure what they're trying to build over there. You trade Jordan Poole for CJ McCollum. You have a bunch of just random vets there, and CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton. I just don't know why you do necessarily. I know you let go of Marcus Smart. There was a couple of young pieces there. Alex Sarr, I think will play a little better this year. He's a right defender, reminds me of Evan Mobley. Bob Carrington, both those guys down the stretch play a little bit better. I think you drafted Trey Johnson there early this year. He can shoot the lights out. So they'll be a little better. They won't. What did they have last year? Like 17 wins, something like that. So I don't think they win even 30 games. I think 30 is about their ceiling. I don't think they're going anywhere. But they'll win 27 or 28 games. They won't be in the teens this year, for whatever that's worth. That's my Eastern Conference over-under segment in the NBA. That's all I have for you guys today. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the playoff baseball. Enjoy the NFL. Till next time, so long. Have a great day.